The territory of Spain today covers 195,365 square miles, mostly on the Iberian Peninsula, bordered by Portugal to the west, France and Andorra to the north, and the Mediterranean Sea to the east. Spain also includes the Balearic Islands, the Canary Islands, and two small enclaves in North Africa, Ceuta and Melilla. At the dawn of the 19th century, however, Spain's empire stretched far beyond Europe. It claimed over 5 million square miles, controlling vast territories across the Americas from California to Argentina and even the Philippines in Asia. This global reach made Spain the world's first true superpower, though the empire's rise had begun centuries earlier. In the 15th century, Spain as we know it did not yet exist. The Iberian Peninsula was divided into Christian kingdoms, the largest being Castile and Aragon. These states had spent centuries reclaiming lands from the Moors, North African Muslims who had conquered much of Iberia since the 8th century. In 1469, Queen Isabella of Castile and King Ferdinand of Aragon married, uniting their realms under a joint rule. Together, they completed the Reconquista by defeating the last Muslim stronghold, the Emirate of Granada, in 1491. With the peninsula secured, they turned their eyes overseas. Portugal had already begun maritime exploration, charting the African coast in search of a sea route to Asia's spice trade. Into this world came Christopher Columbus, a Genoese navigator who proposed reaching Asia by sailing west. Rejected by Portugal, he turned to Isabella and Ferdinand, who finally agreed to sponsor him. In 1492, Columbus set sail with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, and after 2 months made landfall in the Bahamas. Believing he had reached Asia, he called the local people Indians. Over subsequent voyages, he explored Cuba, Hispaniola, and South America, realizing he had stumbled upon lands unknown to Europeans. His discoveries ignited competition between Spain and Portugal. The Treaty of Tordesillas, brokered by the Pope in 1494, divided the non-European world between the two powers, granting most of the Americas to Spain while leaving Brazil to Portugal. Spain quickly established settlements, beginning with Santo Domingo in 1496. From these bases, Spanish explorers expanded across the Caribbean and mainland. In 1513, Vasco Núñez de Balboa crossed Panama and became the first European to see the Pacific Ocean. But the true prizes lay in the great civilizations of the Americas. In Mexico, Hernán Cortés led an expedition in 1519 against the powerful Aztec Empire, ruled from its magnificent capital, Tenochtitlan. With only a few hundred Spaniards but thousands of native allies, Cortés besieged and conquered the city by 1521. Disease, especially smallpox, devastated the Aztecs, weakening their resistance. Tenochtitlan was rebuilt as Mexico City, the heart of Spain's new empire in the Americas. Further south, Francisco Pizarro targeted the Inca Empire in Peru. The Incas, weakened by civil war and epidemics, fell to the Spanish in the 1530s, bringing vast riches of silver and gold into Spanish hands. In less than a century, Spain had transformed from a divided kingdom on the edge of Europe into the most powerful empire on earth. Its conquests reshaped the world, fueling global trade, spreading Christianity, and setting the stage for centuries of colonial dominance. The Spanish Conquest and Empire. In 1531, Francisco Pizarro returned to Peru with royal approval to conquer the Inca Empire. Unlike Hernán Cortés in Mexico, his campaign was slow and difficult. The Inca realm was vast, decentralized, and resistant. On top of this, the Spanish themselves were divided. Rivalries between Pizarro's faction and that of Diego de Almagro soon spiraled into a civil war among the conquistadors. Pizarro was eventually assassinated in 1541, but by then Spanish power in Peru had been secured. In 1542, the Viceroyalty of Peru was established with its capital at Lima, mirroring the earlier Viceroyalty of New Spain. Yet resistance from the Incas persisted into the 1570s. Together, the conquests of Mexico and Peru formed the backbone of Spain's empire in the Americas. Spanish ambitions stretched across oceans. After Magellan's circumnavigation, Spain laid claim to the Philippines, naming them after Prince Philip. By 1571, Manila had become the hub of Spanish Asia, though resistance, especially from Muslim groups in Mindanao, limited full control. Nevertheless, the Philippines gave Spain a crucial foothold in Asian trade. The wealth of Spain's empire was underpinned by massive silver and gold mining. Rich deposits in Mexico, Peru, and especially Potosí in Bolivia, where a mountain of silver was discovered in 1545, fueled Spain's global power. For over 2 centuries, Spain controlled the world's largest silver supply, shipped annually in treasure fleets back to Europe. But this flood of bullion also caused runaway inflation, known as the Price Revolution. Colonial society began to take shape. Most Spanish settlers were men, and many married native women, creating a mestizo population. Spanish language and Catholicism spread, defining colonial life. By the late 16th century, enslaved Africans were also brought in large numbers, particularly to Caribbean plantations. Despite the enormous wealth, Spain struggled. Wars in Europe drained resources, forcing King Philip II to declare bankruptcy 4 times. By the 17th century, silver supplies were declining, and rivals, England, France, and the Netherlands, challenged Spain's dominance in the Americas and the Caribbean. England's seizure of Jamaica in the 1650s marked a turning point. Still, Spanish colonies stretched from Mexico to Argentina, with new settlements founded in California and Texas by Franciscan missionaries in the 18th century. The decisive blow came from Europe. In 1808, Napoleon invaded Spain and placed his brother Joseph on the throne. Across Latin America, uprisings erupted. Leaders like Simón Bolívar, José de San Martín, and Miguel Hidalgo fought to liberate their nations. By the 1820s, Spain had lost nearly all its American possessions. Mexico, South America, and Central America had broken away. Only a handful of colonies remained: Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. But even these slipped away. After the Cuban War of Independence began in 1895, the United States intervened in 1898, defeating Spain in the Spanish-American War. Spain ceded Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines, ending 4 centuries of imperial rule. From its meteoric rise in the 16th century to its collapse in the 19th, the Spanish Empire reshaped the world. Born from Columbus's voyage in 1492, it spanned oceans, toppled empires, and left a profound legacy. An empire that once ruled half the globe, only to vanish in less than 400 years.